the next one on our list says aspirin is an effective home remedy to prevent all types of stroke.
Well, aspirin is a medication, and one of its functions is a blood thinner. Because one of the things that happens is what happens in stroke is that the blood vessel blocks. So it's a blood thinner. It's one of the modalities of prevention. It's not the only. So it's not enough. There are still other things, like I've mentioned, controlling some diseases, modifying your lifestyle, quitting alcohol, quitting smoking, and eating better and exercising. So it's just one of the measures.
Okay. So people shouldn't just take it because
No.
some persons they might even have to say, bring aspirin, bring
and
aspirin.
they may not even take the correct dose.
Exactly.
They may take a half-full dose.
And then it's not just one particular type of stroke that we have. It might not, okay, you said aspirin is like a blood thinner.
Yes, blood thinner.
So what if it was not the block?
Yes, it's the one that is bleeding.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it was the hemorrhage.
Yes, it wouldn't prevent it.
Okay. So the next one on our list says that stroke only affects the brain.
Stroke majorly affects the brain, but it's a disease of the blood vessel of the central nervous system. Rarely, it may affect the spinal cord.
Okay.
So a blood vessel to the spinal cord, and so the people just have weakness of the lower parts, difficulty urinating, difficulty in going to toilets. So that's the rarer one. It does affect that.
Okay. So it just affects the brain. Then whatever part of the body that the brain controls is affected.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I hope we're all listening and following. Okay. So the next one on our list says that stroke symptoms are always obvious. Some people will say, I've heard someone say, if it's not that paralysis, then it's not stroke. Then maybe it's another thing.
Well, we call it, usually the classical ones, loss of balance. The person is dizzy, loss of balance, the mouth just shifts to one side, person is unable to speak or speaking up point, or one side of the body is weak. The more severe one, the person can just collapse and be unconscious. So in most cases, that's why I was worrying about the minor ones that people don't know something has happened. Suddenly you stand up in the church, you're supposed to read the Bible, and then you can't read. And then you just can't read. That sudden is speech. So there's a part of the brain that controls that. So something has happened. But maybe when the person can read hours later or can talk with, the person neglects it and he has his own problems. Because now when it happens, that kind of thing happens in 3, 4, 5, 6 different parts of the brain, then the person now has small cognitive deficits. So the person will start becoming forgetful, getting missing, losing memory and all that. Because it now has happened to enough small places to add up. Yes.
To form something big.
Yes.
And it's small that forms the big problem.
Big one.
Okay. So when people have small symptoms, even if as little
no matter as you see your doctor, yes, or see a doctor.
Okay. Because some people will say, no, it's only when the person faints or when the person cannot move one hand.
It's unconscious, yes.
Or that's when they say it's a problem. Okay. So the next one says stroke recovery is fast.
Stroke recovery, not necessarily fast. It depends on how severe it was, how mild it was, and also how quickly the person got to the hospital, and also what services the hospital can offer. So it depends. So in the developed world, it may be fast, because just like I said, there's a blockage. Those who go to the hospital in minutes, in 90 minutes, there's any medication that can be injected that will scatter the blockade. So that will be fast. But in this country, when we even see that medication is so expensive, it runs into, well, the last I knew was like almost $1 million, if it's even available. Plus people come in late. By the time they come, it's already a week, it's already weeks, some months or years. So no, it's not always fast.
And with the fact that in Nigeria, when something like that happens in our country, first of all, they go to other
We go
places
to
first.
one spiritual
Churches,
home, we go to
one woman
herbal,
that did
the
it
medicine, and
for his
all.
neighbor.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Before maybe they've tried, and then there's
By the
nothing.
time they come, so much has already gone under the water. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, this next one says, is it true that stroke is caused by spirits or inflicted on one by one's enemies?
No, please. In sub-Saharan Africa, we just can't run away from African beliefs. People still believe that no, anybody can have a stroke. If it's just spiritual, why do they have stroke all over the world? Who is pursuing who? Why is that people still travel outside the country and still have the stroke? Is it that they sent the neighbors also abroad? No, it's a medical condition affecting the brain. It's a disease of the blood vessels of the brain. And so some of those factors I mentioned earlier, years damage the blood vessel. Just like you have a rusty pipe, and someday the rusty pipe blocks, or is too weak, or lax, balloons out with pressure, it may burst. So that's what happens in stroke. No, it is not a spiritual disease. No, it's not your neighbor or the person you quarreled with or the person that is trying to get your job or ruin your business or snatch your wife or husband. No, please.
Okay, we've heard from the experts and we've heard that when you have stroke, even if the symptoms are small as it can be, that whenever you feel you have stroke, the first thing first is that you should report to the hospital.
And the faster the better.
The faster, the better for you. And even before that, prevention too is important. We heard when she said
start realigning your life.
Yes. You have high blood pressure, diabetes, you need to control them. So you need to get to the hospital to control those diseases before, so that you can prevent stroke. All right. So thank you for coming.
And thank you for inviting me. To all those who are out there, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Feeling me, I'm a double for the sunset, shines in the moonlight just before